Many might say that 2017 overall was a pretty disappointing year for computer cases. While tempered glass and RGB remained mainstays in the PC hardware industry, several manufacturers were content with simply a single new model or two, leaving little in the way of new and exciting options for system builders. Thermaltake, on the other hand, was very active during 2017, releasing some exciting and unique new cases that are also quite easy on the eyes. They began the year with the releases of the Tower 900, the Core P series open air chassis, and the View series, among others, as well as releasing tempered glass updates for some of their cases from the past. Enter the Thermaltake View 71. Released in August 2017, the View 71 comes in two models. The RGB version ships with three 140mm Thermaltake Ring RGB fans. Not to be confused with the newer and pricier Ring Plus RGB fans. The TG version, which I have here, ships with two 140mm Ring fans with blue LEDs pre-configured in the lower front and rear exhaust positions. The case features slightly tinted 5mm thick tempered glass on every side except for the back and the bottom. To prevent airflow restrictions, the glass on all sides has been spaced about 5mm away from the main chassis. While the front and top panels include removable dust filters, there's no practical way to incorporate dust filters on the side panels. This could lead to some internal dust buildup over time if your system has negative air pressure. With positive air pressure, that potential for dust buildup is reduced. However, you'll probably want to dust off the inside of the glass panels from time to time. The removable front and top plastic panels are firmly secured to the frame, and each has a nice magnetic dust filter supplemented with plastic clips to ensure that they stay in place. While these dust filters are removable, you will need to remove the front or top panel in order to access them. The bottom dust filter, on the other hand, covers the bottom PSU and radiator intake areas and is fully removable from the rear of the case. The glass side panels are secured by thumb screws on the front side and held in place by hinges on the rear side, allowing for panel doors that swing all the way open and allow for easy access to the internals of your system without the headaches posed by some of the 4 thumb screw mounting methods. But here's where we run into our first problem. As you can see, the back side panel, when closed, aligns nicely with the rubber mounts on the frame, allowing for a well-fitted secure mount. On the front side panel, however, the rubber mounts do not align with the holes in the glass and have to be smashed between the frame and the glass in order to be secured with its thumb screw. Upon removing the rubber mounts, we can see that the holes in the glass were not drilled appropriately to align with the mounting points of the frame. What a disappointment. On the main panel of the case, no less. Moving on. The side panels are removable by simply lifting them out of their hinges and easily replaced by sliding the pins on the door back into the hinges on the case. The removal and replacement of the doors is made easier by offset top and bottom pin links, allowing you to position the longer top pin before sliding the shorter bottom pin into place. The front I/O of the View 71 has a standard feature set of 2 USB 2.0 ports, 2 USB 3.0 ports, headphone and microphone jacks, and reset and power buttons. No USB 3.1 connection, making this 2017 case incompatible with this particular feature offered by many 2017 motherboards. The large trapezoid-shaped power button has a nice click and is at an angle offset from the rest of the I/O. The glass paneling is cut to allow for its placing, and it's illuminated by a subtle white LED border when powered on. The unique shape, angular nature, and subtle lighting of this button really add some personality and uniqueness to this case, and are a nice added touch. Moving to the inside of the case, and noticeably absent is a PSU shroud of any sort. Standoffs are pre-installed for ATX-size motherboards. We have 8 PCIe expansion slots, and support for up to eATX motherboards, although the included rubber grommets will be covered by an eATX motherboard, which will necessitate alternate cable routing methods if you choose to go that route. The case will house ATX power supplies of any length unless you have a radiator installed on the bottom, in which case 180mm is the absolute max. The case does come with a vertical GPU mounting bracket for showcasing your graphics card, but the necessary PCIe riser cable that you'll need in order to utilize the bracket is not included. It can be purchased separately for an additional $30. The bracket placement allows room for the other PCIe expansion bays to be used, as long as they are not taller than the expansion bay itself. Also included are two hard drive cages, which can each hold two 2.5-inch or two 3.5-inch drives. These drive cages are removable, and here we run into our second problem. Every single screw and thumb screw in the case has been uber tightened in the factory. Even with the use of a screwdriver, they're incredibly hard to remove. And for some reason, the screws used in PC hardware are always super easy to strip. Soft screws and over-tightening equal stripped screws. Despite being careful and patient, this particular screw was unable to be loosened with a screwdriver. I was not planning on having drive cages in my build. Luckily, I managed to remove the screw with some other tools I had handy, but most people are not going to have a pinch clamp crimper handy when building their PC. Three more drive mounting panels are located on the back side panel, held in place with captive thumb screws, which can each hold an additional two 2.5-inch drives or a single 3.5-inch drive, bringing the total included drive support up to 10 2.5-inch drives or 7 3.5-inch drives. The back drive mounting panels do not offer any sort of rubber or dampening material between the tray and the drive, giving us metal-on-metal contact, which will lead to increased system noise from mechanical hard drives. Thermaltake claims tool-free installation for hard drives in their product description for the View 71, which is true, unless you consider a screwdriver a tool. The drives are mounted to both the drive trays and rear drive panels with the included screws. The drive trays and drive panels themselves can be removed by hand, but the actual mounting of the drives to these trays and panels requires the use of a screwdriver and some screws. As a water cooling brand, Thermaltake always includes extensive water cooling support in all their cases, and the View 71 is no different. Designed with water cooling in mind, the View 71 offers extensive radiator support, allowing the use of up to 360mm or 420mm radiators in both the front and top of the case, as well as support for up to a 240mm radiator on the bottom of the case. You can even mount a 360 or 420mm radiator on the back panel here as long as you don't have interfering top or front mounted radiators. But if you do that, keep in mind that any air that you pull in through the back panel is not going to be dust filtered. There is also support for a 120 or 140mm rear fan or radiator. The View 71 has a small panel on the front bottom of the case, which when opened, provides a handy spot for a drain port for your water cooling loop. There are also numerous mounting points for pumps and reservoirs on the bottom and back of the case. All the fan mounts in the case are on rails, offering adjustable placement of your fans, with the exception of the rear exhaust fan. The top of the case has a removable mounting bracket, allowing you to mount your radiator and fans outside of the case, and then drop them in for easy installation. The radiator bracket can then be mounted in a center position for visual symmetry, or with a 30mm offset, allowing for additional room for motherboard or RAM clearance. Looking at the back of the case, we have a generous amount of room for cables between the motherboard tray and the frame, but for some reason there are only 1, 2, 3, 4 cable mounting points. With a completely clear glass panel on this side of the case, cable management is going to be extremely important. You might be able to tie some cables to the radiator mounting frame over here, but that might be hard to disguise from the front. The case itself is actually not very heavy with the glass and plastic removed, coming in at just under 14 pounds or 6.26 kilograms with the included fans. The steel frame feels solid and well built. The plastic front and top panels also feel solid. They do flex some when bent, but they have this giant hole in the middle. They don't feel flimsy at all. The plastic has a slightly textured surface, which helps avoid handling smears. Fully assembled without a system, the case weighs in at just under 40 pounds or 18 kilograms. I weighed the case on a bathroom scale, so these numbers are by no means scientific. The case is 23 inches tall and 11.25 inches wide, while being 23 inches deep, or 58.4 by 28.5 by 58.4 centimeters. It stands on large solid feet made of plastic, which are attached to the frame and give it 1.5 inches of elevation. The feet have a rubber padding on them, which some people have noted can leave black marks behind. I haven't had that problem, but I'm not using a white table. Anyways, enough yapping, let's get to building. The View 71 is very sturdy and it looks fantastic. At $199.99 for the RGB version or $169.99 for the non-RGB version, I think it's fairly priced, and it can often be found on sale. The View 71 is a great example of how an otherwise stellar product can be marred in execution by lack of attention to detail and brought down to mediocrity. From a front side panel with manufacturing defects, to cheapo over-tightened screws, to rubber foot pads that peel off after just a couple days. That's right, 2 of the rubber foot pads peeled off the first time I went to shift the case after setting up the built system. This may be avoidable if you actually lift the case anytime it's moved or shifted, but given the sheer size and weight of the View 71, Thermaltake had to have known that this case is going to be shifted around on its feet. It's no wonder though, because the rubber foot pads were stuck to 2 holes. And that thing I said about the case leaving black marks not being a thing, well, it's a thing now. Failure to pay attention to detail can spoil the end user experience very quickly, and saving 50 cents on screws and adhesive could come at the cost of repeat business. In a future revision, I'd like to see a power supply shroud of some sort to bring the case current with modern standards. I understand Thermaltake is trying to sell RGB power supplies, but a removable shroud or a shroud of some sort is expected at this price point, and has really come to be an industry standard. Some rubber dampers on the hard drive trays and panels would be appreciated too. Maybe something like we see on this hard drive tray from 2007. And a front panel USB 3.1 Gen 2 Type-C connector would be nice to bring the front I/O in line with current and upcoming technologies. The thermals are pretty great, with my overclocked GTX 1080 Ti running at an average 71 degrees Celsius under load. My previous case was only able to achieve that with the side panel removed. The included blue LED fans are a little on the noisy side, but they look nice. Gamers Nexus did a full testing of thermals and sound, which I'll link to below for anyone who's interested. I have attempted to contact Thermaltake twice in the past month regarding a possible replacement for my glass panel with the misaligned holes, but I've yet to hear back from them. I'm definitely going to follow up on that, and I'll post any updates in the description below. Their customer support does seem to be active on Newegg, so I might try and hit them up there, since the Contact Us button on their webpage doesn't seem to be manned. With the View 71, what should have been a great experience wound up being a so-so experience. But there's no arguing with the final result. It's sleek and classy, with a subtle elegance that draws your attention without begging for it. It's certainly overkill without a custom loop inside. I was planning on adding a custom loop to my system this summer. Do you think I should use this case? Let me know in the comments below. So that's the View 71. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter at YouMePC, and be sure to hit that subscribe button because you were here from the start. Until next time, I'm Yumi with YouMePC. Catch you on the flip.